This is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Lillian Crawford.
And I'm Laura Beth Wells.
Wow, it's the family affair here.
Indeed.
I have two actresses with me today, and I am really excited that y'all are here, as you're going to be performing at the Old City Performing Arts Center, the River and Rail Theater Company. Mm-hmm. And Lillian, you're in the show. I mean, this is not your first gig either.
No, it isn't.
What was your first acting job? I mean, your first acting show here in Knoxville. You've been in children's theater, you've been in school stuff, you've been in...
I think it was Matilda at Beaumont. Was that the
That's
first
a good
one?
show.
That was the first one.
Matilda's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it. I watched the video of it recently, and I loved it. And now I'm thinking I want to go see it again when my grandkids are in town. It was so much fun. So, and Laura Beth, you're also in this show. Now,
yes,
you and I have, Laura's LB has been here before to be on the Frank and Friends show. And also, I don't know if you knew this, but I recently interviewed your mom for PBS. Mm-hmm. Oh, and we covered a lot of your fabulous career. Mm-hmm. But this show hadn't come along yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. And who are you in this particular show called Fun Home?
It's called Fun Home. I play Alison Bechdel, and
she's a real person who wrote the book.
Yes, she is a real person. She's most well known for her. She's a cartoonist. She's a lesbian, so she deals with LGBTQ issues in her work. And she
Did you get the role because your initials are LB?
Alison Bechdel. And she also wrote a graphic novel that is it's an autobiography. It's a memoir about her life growing up with her father in a small rural Pennsylvania town. Mm-hmm. And of course, she, so herself coming out and growing up gay in this small, and then
in a small town is different than in a big city. Yeah,
and finding out that her father was gay, and then he tragically. I mean, this is in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
It's not. No, spoiler alerts, he commits suicide about 4 months after she came out. And so this was her way of
she had a lot to deal with.
Dealing with
that's
because
heavy
she talks
stuff.
about it she talks about it in a lot of her work that she processes through drawing.
Yeah, no kidding.
And the composers Janine Tesori and Lisa Crone, they turned it into a musical, which seems really counterintuitive, but it is a beautiful show and a beautiful
I will defend
score.
it because some of the most beautiful operas in history are about suicide, murder, incest. You pick a thing. Pick. I don't want to say everything, but you know what I mean.
And I would actually compare it a lot to something like an opera where you're dealing with these themes.
I'm acquainted with a famous local opera singer
beautiful.
who often tells me, Frank, opera's not the day that nothing happened.
That's right. Fun Home is also not the day that nothing happened.
Now, and speaking of opera, in many operas that I've seen, and you've probably seen your fair share of operas too, I'm guessing, Lillian.
I have.
But like a Hansel and Gretel is the first one that comes to mind, but there's also one that
That's an opera?
There is an opera version of it, and it's written by Engelbert Humperdinck, which is a reference that'll go straight over your head.
That is a very strange name.
And so strange that there's some random Welsh singer who had like a very boring regular name. He changed his professional name to Engelbert Humperdinck so that he could be a pop singer in the 1970s. He changed his name to be the same as this opera writer from the 1800s. But in that, it's traditional to have the brother, Hansel, played by a soprano, female, and it's called a pants role. And it's very common in opera to have a pants role when you need, look at, even in cartoons, Bart Simpson has been played by a woman for 30, 40, whatever long that show's been on TV, 30 years. And you, as I understand it, have a pants role, right?
Yes.
So what is your part? What do you do?
I'm going to be playing Christian Bechdel.
Okay.
The older brother
of your mom.
Of Alison.
So we have to explain that.
Yes,
but
how can you be your mom's older brother?
Well, the reason that I am my mom's older brother is because the account of the story is her looking back on her life.
Yeah.
Like her life when she was a kid, when she was in college, and when she was a kid, her younger brother John. Well, that's an entirely separate thing.
But there's more. But there's three actresses who play Alison. Is what we're getting to.
There's three actresses that play Alison, and young Alison has two brothers. The other Alisons do have two brothers, but they're never actually explicitly seen.
Yeah.
but they exist. But for young Alison, the two brothers, they make commercials together. They stay in New York together. They have experiences together.
That's fun.
Like,
And now, so Fun Home is one of the commercials they make, right?
Fun Home is one of the commercials they make, yeah, because they're talking about their dad owns a funeral home.
Which is why I'm interested in the story, because I have a morbid sense of humor.
And they call the funeral home the Fun Home.
Put the fun in funeral.
That's right.
And they made up a jingle, a song?
Yeah, they did.
How does it go?
You want me to sing the whole thing?
Well, no, but you can sing part of
Just
it.
a little bit. A little taste. Teaser.
Come to the Fun Home, that's the Bechdel funeral home, baby. Stop by the Fun Home, we got Kleenex and your choice of psalm. Stop by the Fun Home, think of Bechdel when you need to embalm. You've got no reason to roam. Use the Bechdel funeral home. What it is, who, what it is now, baby, who.
Oh, that's really fun. That's really fun.
Yeah,
You've got
it's one of the best numbers in the show. And the great thing is that as adult Alison, I'm on stage the whole time watching my own memories.
Yes, of course.
And so
yeah.
I get to see all of the fun moments.
Oh, that is outstanding.
I love watching it. They do a great job.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, I was a nosy. My cousins and I, we explored the back rooms of the funeral home during my Uncle Jack's funeral. And we walked in on some poor dead guy, and it was, scary and startling. That part really cracks me up. And also, there's a movie, I think they made it twice, it's called maybe Death at a Funeral or something, where it was a similar plot twist, and happens fairly early on, so I don't think I'm spoiling it, where the patriarch of the family dies, and then I believe it's Peter Dinklage in the British version, and I forget the name of the actor, I have to look it up in the American version, who shows up and says, I was your dad's lover. So that's how the family finds out in that particular show, because he wants a piece of the inheritance, he wants some of the money.
Got it.
But this is, based on an actual true story that Alison Bechdel went through. Now, what about the middle Alison? Or the younger and the middle, I guess. We need both.
Anna Smith is her name, and she is local. She grew up in Knoxville and then went to college in New York and is currently in New York working, but has come back here and is middle Alison. And that's supposed to be college age, around 18, 19.
An important age of discovery and things like that.
Yes, which is how old she was when she came out to her family, and how old she was when her dad died.
And what about little Alison, our youngest?
Young Alison is supposed to be around 8. Around 8 or 9, is it not?
Yeah,
around 8 or 9. And that is being played by a girl named Zoe, and she is from Brooklyn. And
she's lovely.
Does she talk like this?
No, she does not talk like that.
Do you have to talk like that?
No, she is an extremely nice person. She's really nice, and
I love it.
Zoe
she and I are really good
is her
friends.
name.
Lovely.
Yeah, she is. She's lovely, and she's
I don't know if you knew this,
actor
but I'm
and
actually from New York myself. I grew
You
up
are
in.
too.
Yeah.
Well, I am. You're
Of course,
not.
yeah. Yes, you are. You're the original Broadway baby. What I'm also interested in is I have to look at the cast list, but I recognized a few folks in the cast. Emily Helton, is she in the show?
Yes, Emily Helton plays Joan.
I've seen her in multiple shows at the old Flying Anvil Theater. Wow, she's terrific.
Yeah, absolutely terrific. She plays Joan, which is medium Alison, college-age Alison's first girlfriend, who factors in a lot into that part of the story.
Of course.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
And who else is in the cast off the top of your head?
Parker is playing. There's a track. It's called a tentra track. Sort of. It's all the other male roles that are not.
Did I just learn a theatrical term that I didn't know before?
I don't know if it's an actual technical term, but it's what we've been referring to it as. Yes, Parker Jenkins, and also a graduate of the UT Theater Department.
Fantastic.
Who's out, like Emily, working professionally in the business. And then Brian Gligger is playing Bruce. my dad, who is also a graduate.
Nice.
I forget what year he graduated from the MFA program at
Yeah.
UT.
It's not a quiz. It's just a just a conversation.
And then
Katie
Katie
Wolf is
Wolf is playing Helen,
Helen.
the mother.
Now, I know, I guess I met Katie a long, long time ago. She used to run the Sound Company Children's Choir, and my daughter was in that when we first moved here to Tennessee. And I was excited to see her name in there too, because I thought she had relocated to New York full time.
Sort of, spending,
Both?
back and forth, yeah.
That's fantastic. Because she had a showcase for her singers in New York recently. And I know this because I've done shows with two of her students. I'm like, hey, I recognize these people.
Yeah, back and
This
forth.
is-
In fact, I think there was one day where she was leaving rehearsal a little early so she could go catch a flight
Oh,
to
outstanding.
go do one
Yeah,
of the showcases.
it was just the other day. It was
Yeah.
probably the same thing.
It was, yeah.
Same thing. All right, Lillian, let's talk more about you because you obviously grew up in and around show business. I met you a long time ago when you were a toddler. And I know you might not even know this, but I was emceeing an event. It was a Christmas tree lighting. And your grandparents brought you to it, and I was out in Farragut. And somebody said, Frank, you got to come over and see this adorable girl who can sing Rocky Top. So
That was an embarrassing time of my life. I look back on those videos and I think, how did anyone let me live with this guilt?
well, I was the DJ. I was the dumb DJ who put you on the radio that day.
You were
No, I wasn't.
You were excellent, and I didn't want to say it right at the beginning in case you stormed off. No, you're fine with it, right?
Yes.
Okay. And also, I met you when I was the MC for the Knoxville Symphony Orchestra Clayton Holiday concert. You came to see that show. Yeah.
I did.
So I'm aware of you, but how did you now, being with your dad being an opera singer, your mom being an Broadway actress, how did you decide? I guess there's no way to say. How did you decide to become an actress? Because you're almost destined to it. You'd have to fight against it if you didn't want to do it.
I kind of just, when we first moved here, I had to sit through Christmas Carol. I learned all the songs. I basically got free voice lessons from all of the voice faculty there.
Because your mom,
Clarence Brown,
you're in it almost every year, right? LB?
Because
Yeah.
I would sit backstage during rehearsals, then I would sit backstage during shows, and
That's fantastic.
It was basically just lots of the voice faculty would come back, and I just got lessons from them sometimes. And then my mom taught at KCT for a while.
That's the Knoxville Children's Theater.
Yes, and
That's a good
I would always sit
organization.
in her classes, and I would sit through those, and I did a couple of classes myself. And then,
I went over there to do an episode. They had their own spoof of A Christmas Carol this past year.
Yes, the
And
carol.
I went
that
o-
was amazing.
I went over and went to one of the rehearsals and met the cast and talked to some of the folks, including the director. It was real fun.
You really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
It was a good show. And they recently do Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe,
Yeah,
is that right?
I think that's on at the moment.
Yeah.
And I did some stuff at KCT.
Yeah.
Just some classes and stuff like that had small performances and stuff like that.
Great.
And then I was when I was in third grade, I moved to Beaumont.
Yeah.
And they had that year for the 4th and 5th graders, they did Schoolhouse Rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that on virtual, and I was like, oh, cool. And then they announced that they were going to do Matilda the next year, and I decided to audition.
Yeah.
And it was a weird audition process. We had been to the theme park the day before, so it was a super weird audition process. And I was sick and everything. And I got Miss Honey,
Nice.
and
That's a fun show.
it really is a fun show.
I recommend that.
It's a really good
There's a production of it this summer. The Holston Show Choir is
Children's
doing
Theater's also doing it.
Matilda. Oh, then I want to go see that with when
They might have already done it.
my grandsons are in
But
town. That'll be
it's-
fun.
Really good show. They did cut a lot of good songs, but it's still a really good show.
And what about Beauty and the Beast? Is that another one?
Yeah, they're doing that.
Who is Beaumont?
That Beaumont is, yeah. I'm one of the narrators, but it's
And you're doing double duty at the moment.
yeah,
right
I am.
now.
I'm doing that in Fun Home, but
Nice.
it's starring Ariana Browning and Lucas McIntosh as
The title characters.
as the title characters. Belle and the
That's
Beast.
fantastic.
And with Yeah.
Good, and I think that narrator is an important part of that story because there's so much that's going on. Absolutely. With the enchanted everything, and even in the movies and the cartoons, there's always been some kind of explanation that goes along. So that's nice, very good, an important part. I was always the narrator in all my school plays when I was a kid.
And Amanda Taylor is the director.
Nice, excellent. Well, Beaumont is like a magnet school, or what? It's like
It's the Arts Magnet School.
Arts Magnet
in
School.
Knox County.
Fantastic. So you got this part in Fun Home, and what's the process? How hard is it
It's
to learn?
actually not that hard. It's really more of like if you learn the keys right off the bat, and you do a little bit of practicing every so often.
Talking about for the songs?
Yeah. You can kind of do a fun little thing that I like to do when I'm on double duty. During school, if I finish everything and I get free time, I practice for Beauty and the Beast. Then during Beauty and the Beast rehearsals, I can practice for Fun Home. Then during Fun Home, I can practice for school.
It's like a love triangle.
It is. You just keep going around.
And what about you, LB? Because you're teaching at UT, but you're also now, and you're always being called for voiceovers and commercials and everything like this. You were able to fit this into your schedule as the lead role.
Yes, and UT is finishing up finals right now, and I'm finishing up my grading for that, and I'm very much looking forward to being able to focus just on Fun Home. Our director, Jessica Holt, is fantastic. I've really enjoyed working with her as part of this process, and we are entering into week 3. So the first week we did a lot of table work, which was sitting and talking about the character, talking about the story, making sure that we were all on the same page about the given circumstances, the storytelling that we were doing, and then we start doing rough blocking. We did that the second week, and so now we are cleaning and fine-tuning. Going into this weekend, we will have our designer run for the designers so they can see. So that's kind of our goal, is to be off book and ready. So it's actually timed out.
What's the deadline?
It's actually timed out really nicely, because when I was busier with teaching, we were doing table work, and now that that's coming out, I can spend more time focusing.
What was
Timed out nicely for you.
It is.
It's crunch time for you.
I got performances on. I have the designer run, and then I got 2 shows.
That's right. Yes, on Saturday.
But you can handle it.
You can handle it. I know
right?
you can.
I mean, seriously, let's think about it. And what's the deadline then to have everything memorized? Because it's different in musical theater and opera. It's different in different genres. In opera, you're expected to have it all memorized long before you even fly to the city for the first rehearsal.
Right. We don't have a hard and fast written down deadline. I think the expectation is that by Saturday, when we do the designer run, so that the designers can see as close as possible what the
designers
show will be.
are set designers?
Set designers, costume designers, lighting designers.
Okay.
So that they can see, obviously they've already done their designs by this point, but they can see, all right, well, this is how the show is going to look. Maybe we need to make sure that this costume is quick rigged, so because there's a quick costume change, they're going to exit stage left, so that means the change has to happen stage left. The set designer can look and see, oh, well, we were expecting to do X, Y, and Z, but the way they're exiting there, we should probably zhuzh it a little bit. They can really see, okay, this is what it is on its feet and in practice. And I think the expectation is that by that time, we should be about 95% there. You go up a little bit, you have to call a line, totally fine.
Now, would that be still, the opening night is June 2nd?
June 2nd is opening.
So this time that we're talking about, by the time the zhuzhing, would that be like 2 weeks before opening?
Yes.
Okay.
About 2 weeks before opening. And that gives us plenty of time where we're really confident we can really delve deep, because you got to get the scripts out of your hands so that you can truly make it your own, and take on the character as opposed to being really tied to the script.
Yeah, I mean, you want to use your hands for every other thing, to emote, to pick up a prop, to whatever you have to do.
And make that connection between, although it's funny, being the person that doesn't exist in the world that's actually happening. That's something that we work on in rehearsal, is not looking at me.
Are you allowed to walk through like a ghost?
Yeah, I walk. My turn as Christmas present in Christmas Carol this past year has been very helpful in being
It's the hardest thing for us, because they're like, when she's talking, don't look at her. Don't look at her. She's not there. As far as you're concerned, she doesn't exist.
I mean, can you use that at home? Can you tell your mom, like she'll say, look at me when I'm talking to you. He's like, no.
You don't exist.
I'm getting, this is my method.
I get 2 hours more screen time because you don't exist.
Well, LB, this might come back to bite you.
I think it might.
So when you're out and about, you mentioned some of these other great theaters that are in town. Where else do you like to go see shows? Do you travel to New York to see shows? Where do you like? What's the theater scene locally and on a bigger, and regionally?
I love getting to see stuff at Clarence Brown. Went to go see Hair with actually some members of the Fun Home cast,
Nice.
which was wonderful.
I saw the picture of the 3 Allisons going to see Hair
Yes, the
together.
3 Allisons went to see Hair. We had a great time. I really like going out to Oak Ridge and seeing things.
The Playhouse.
Going out to the Playhouse, Theater Knoxville downtown. I like seeing stuff there as well.
Yeah.
I love getting out to see stuff. I love the new play festival that the Tennessee Shakespeare does. I directed one of the staged readings this past festival, the new play festival.
Oh, congratulations!
Which was a lot of fun, and there's so much wonderful art and theater that's being done around Knoxville.
Yeah, I mean, also there's a lot of great musical concerts. And now, if you had the opportunity to go see Mom one night and Dad the other night, which you probably do, what are some of the memorable performances that you've seen them in?
I think Patsy Cline was really memorable, but that might have also been because I had those like 6 months of just hearing those songs over and over again. I finally got to see the person she was singing them all to. It was just like, Mom, who are you talking to?
Always Patsy Cline.
It was always Patsy Cline.
Well, his shows are kind of I don't remember anyone in particular. I don't mean to be rude to my dad, but like they're not he's good.
He's really good.
He also performs not here. So we don't go very often.
Right, and you don't go to Japan to see your dad sing. But he was in Handel's Messiah, and he's going to be next year. I saw he's going to be in Verdi's Requiem, which I'm excited about because my wife sings in the Choral Society, so she's in that same show, but up in the back.
Yeah. I think my favorite theater here is just the children's theater and the kids' playhouse, because a lot of my friends, my theater friends, just friends that I've been in shows at those places with, they are in a lot of those shows, and so
Kids Playhouse is Oak Ridge also, right?
Yeah.
That's okay, right. Excellent. Well, it seems like there's a lot more opportunity than you would automatically assume, because, if you don't start Googling and looking and paying attention, but once you're tuned into it.
Yeah. The children's theater is definitely, I have a lot of friends who, not school friends, outside of school friends, that do a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Well, that was one thing that we were talking about with Zoe, who plays young Allison, and her mom. They live in Brooklyn, and she was saying how wonderful it was to be here in Knoxville and see how much theater was happening. She said, in New York, they have some children's theaters that operate, and then they have obviously Broadway,
the highest level of professionalism.
And she said there's really not a whole lot in between small professional theater, things like that, where you are doing like Zoe is now, where you're performing with adults. It's a professional show, but it's not broad, it's...
But it's also that necessary stepping stone. There are many people from this area, yourself included, who have been able to get the experience, do the reps, like we talk about. You got to get out there and do the exercises, do the reps, so that you ultimately can make it all the way to Broadway.
Absolutely.
Or wherever your ultimate goal is, whether it's a movie or whether it's a recording career.
Or even, and this is something that I have come to realize about the making of theater and the making of art, is that Broadway is wonderful and Broadway is great, but there is really fantastic art and theater to be made regardless of location. Your goal is Netflix.
Be on Netflix.
My goal's always been on Netflix. Me and Stranger Things Wednesday-esque show, that would be amazing.
I'll say, in all fairness, in the course of your lifetime, Netflix has gone from nothing to something.
True.
So we'll say that something similar to, analogous to a Netflix, because by the time another 5 years goes by the time you're out of high school or college, it could be Netflix could be old news. There'll be a new thing coming along. But I understand the concept to have a show like I love that show Wednesday.
It was, yeah.
It was fun because I like the old Addams Family too, so that was fun for me to see the same concept and the way they did Thing and yeah.
The thing about that Fun Home is a lot of like my outfits and my shirts and stuff pulled straight out of Stranger Things. Like,
oh really?
Like it's eerily how similar the wardrobe that the designer gave me.
Is it the same years, same decade?
It's same, same decade clothing. So like it's so eerily similar.
Where'd they find all this stuff?
So eerily similar to Mike Wheeler, like all of his clothes. It's just so eerily similar. It's like pulled straight out of Mike Wheeler's wardrobe.
But you love it.
It freaks. It's just so eerily similar. I looked at an outfit. I'm like, did they go to Hollywood and like take this?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think they shot Stranger Things in Atlanta. It wasn't that far from here. Yeah, so they could have. They could have bought the old wardrobe. You might be wearing the same clothes.
But yeah, it is. Especially the scenes that you're in are about like late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, no kidding.
Around that time period.
I remember those years.
Oh, so do I. There's been a lot of
Good for you.
There's been a lot of sharing of knowledge. There's one scene that the kids are in where they do this joke about land shark.
Yes.
So I had to pull it up on the. But still, like I pulled it up on the phone
everybody. So they're all on the same level as you.
This is what that joke means, and this is why it was a big thing at the time.
That's funny.
Candygram.
Yeah, the old Saturday Night Live bits. Yep. We used to do that all the time. We didn't have internet,
Land shark.
Yeah, we didn't have memes. Like you and your friends could probably rattle off the sound from a dozen memes that are relatively new. Or even sometimes, I know some people who just start singing that, oh no, from TikTok. Oh no. But for us, Saturday night.
The open the door meme.
Yeah.
I swear there are kids that get so in depth with those memes that they won't open the door for anyone who doesn't say open the door. Or the new version of the oh no is 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, buckle some more, 5, 6, Nike kicks.
Well, thank you for bringing me up to speed. That's fantastic.
You're welcome.
Or nobody's gonna know.
Yes.
That's like that's like a year.
Oh, is that old?
Like,
okay.
Old.
See, I'm already old.
Yeah, because it's made it to Instagram. That's how we know it's old.
Oh, that's
yeah. If it's made it to Instagram or Facebook, it's old.
It's true.
But for us, Saturday Night Live was the thing. We would stay up late and watch it.
Or like the kids that would go to school and like the, and the like the with the shirts with the beer shirts from that one commercial.
Oh, the frogs.
Yeah.
The
Budweiser frogs?
Budweiser frogs, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The Budweiser frogs.
Why?
Sure.
Well, this is fun. I mean, it literally is a fun home, probably at your house too. And fun home refers to a funeral home, which amuses me to no end. Do they have... I guess how much funeral home is in the show? I know it's mostly about the characters. I understand it's the characters'
Not very much.
journey.
Not a whole lot, especially
like one scene.
There's a couple of the early
we do
scenes
get to
again.
dance on a casket.
They
don't tell anyone. We get to dance in and around a casket.
Okay, I won't tell.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said it right into my microphone, but I won't tell.
Yeah, especially the scenes that deal a lot with young Allison, because that was just that was just part of their growing up. That was their playground.
Yeah.
That's where
I have a friend who his family ran a funeral home here in Knoxville, and that was this normal everyday life. You
Totally
know,
normal. Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving dinner, and Dad has to leave early to go do a pickup.
Yeah. But so about a third of the play, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Sure. And then Allison's journey continues to college, and then ultimately, as an adult, she went. Where did Alison Bechdel end up? New York.
Ended up in New York.
And she's still there, I assume.
Yeah, working as a cartoonist, and then garnered a lot of fame, and that's what that she's known for. Also, is the one that, if you've ever heard of the Bechdel test for film and television, if something passes the Bechdel test, it means that you have at least 2 women on screen for a certain period of time talking about something that does not involve a man. And if something has that, then it passes the Bechdel test.
That's funny.
As in terms of
that's her
her personal
That's hilarious.
barometer of whether something has strong female characters and a strong female storyline.
And this. Go ahead. And then speaking of strong, this was so strong. This was on Broadway, right?
It was indeed, yes. They turned the graphic novel into a musical. It won the Tony Award for Best Musical,
Fantastic.
Best Original Score, Janine Tesori and Lisa Krohn. And they were the first all-female writing team to win all these awards. The music is stunning, and it's beautifully written. It's ultimately a memory play, but it feels very... It doesn't have that same sort of detachment that a lot of memory plays have. I think you really still feel like it's happening in the moment.
Yeah.
And you get very attached to the characters and get attached to the story. And there's this sense of, almost within the first minute what's going to happen because Alison says what's going to happen. But you spend the whole play hoping that maybe it changes, as Alison does, as well as she's digging through and processing these memories. And something that has been very interesting for me working on it is that a lot of it deals with looking back on one's past with the benefit of where you are now as an adult and looking at your parents' decisions as an adult and saying, oh, now I understand why they made that decision that they made. They were just a person. They were human.
Yeah.
And they were a product of their environment, a product of their upbringing, of where they were in life. And it's a really beautiful thing to watch.
That's fantastic. Well, go ahead.
And I see a lot of the adults talking about how this was their big, they saw this in their queer upbringing. I was like, I missed that opportunity. I was alive, but I definitely got an entirely different for the big, oh, this exists, and it's a the big thing that show me queer identity was an entirely different thing.
Yeah,
Netflix show, Heartstopper. That was they're always talking oh, this was my big queer thing. This is my story, and we're excited to hear your stories with coming to the show, and I'm just oh yeah.
But everyone is different in that regard, I mean, that's and this was groundbreaking in terms of, like you mentioned, first lesbian lead character, first all-female writing crew. I mean, has that broken the ceiling, and have there been more since then?
I believe so, but I think
so.
And what I do think makes this even so special is that yes, it's Alison's coming out story. It's dealing with her revelations and her and that of her dad's, but it's really a universal story of a father and a daughter, of a family with secrets, and how secrets that we hold ultimately tear away at us a little bit, and is something that we can all relate to.
Yeah, it's hard to keep things bottled up.
I've heard people talk oh, this might talking, and at least in the cast, about how their friends have been oh, this might not be a story I relate to because I'm not queer and I'm not coming out. And there's a lot of things, and I know we can't really play this song right now because of plagiarism, but there's a lot of songs and stuff in this show that really apply to everyone. There's a song called Ring of Keys that really applies to everyone.
It's a show about growing up as much as it is
growing up and discovering who you are, even if it's not in the aspect of your sexuality or your gender identity.
Well, dealing with the death of a parent is, in my opinion, the birth of a child and the death of a parent are the two most life-changing things that I've ever experienced. And and my dad died when I was fairly young, so it changes you. It changes your perspective on life. You start to think, oh, there's a deadline, there's a finish line, and I might be closer to it than I think. Yeah. And that's so there's that whole layer, the life and death layer too. Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about Fun Home is that it deals with all of these really serious, weighty issues.
Yeah.
But it's really funny.
With Motown-style music. Yeah.
It's really funny because Alison Bechdel, at her core, is a cartoonist. Oh. And she has a beautiful, dry, witty sense of humor, and it's really funny.
And we have to mention Carol Shane.
Yes.
who is my friend. She's involved in the music of the show, right? She's
musical director, and then playing the piano in the band and the orchestra.
Carol, I can still do the New York Times crossword puzzle faster than you. Which she deliberately, she's got her method. She likes to take her pencil and do it on paper, and and luxuriate in it. Whereas I do it on the app, and I race against the clock and try to do it in as fast time as possible. So we're at the opposite ends of the crossword puzzle spectrum, but we still both appreciate a good puzzle.
I'm just amazed you can do in the first. I get like 3 in, and then I'm like, yep, nope, I can't. I don't know the rest of it. Yeah.
You guys tried in the first place?
Yes, when you get to be older, it helps you with your brain development. That's
I
what they
just
say.
play that one word game, and I have her tell me all the answers.
A Wordle?
The one with the wheel.
Wordscapes.
Yes.
Wordscapes. I just play Wordscapes and have her tell me all the answers. Gets her daily thing up.
It does. While I'm driving, which is really hard when you're not looking at the letters.
I bet, yeah. Really work your brain on that.
And then I can get to level 552, and then nobody notices.
Fantastic.
And everyone's like, "Oh, you're so smart," and I'm like, "Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Well,
I am very smart.
There's no doubt about that.
I am very."
Well, Lillian and LB, I'm glad you were here. Thank you for joining me on the
for
show.
having us.
You can go to riverandrailtheater.com for all the tickets and information about this production of Fun Home, running June 2nd through the 18th at the Old City Performing Arts Center, which is on State Street. Usually I have to park like over by not Southern Railway, what is it called?
Well, there's several places. Yeah, you can either park in the public lot that is
right
over
across
there,
the street,
right across Jackson. There's also a lot with meters that, of course, after 6,
that's
the
good,
meters
yeah.
are free. Over by the O.P. Jenkins Furniture there.
Oh, right. Summit. It's like Summit Hill and Gay Street area.
You can park in the parking lot across the street.
cannot park in the
Don't
parking
park
lot.
in the parking lot across the street.
Oh, thank you for that.
We've made this mistake so many times. Don't do it. You will get towed.
Because it's an apartment building that has those spaces, and so
Don't do it.
But there's plenty of places to park on either end, and of course you can enjoy all of the wonderful restaurants and such that are in Old City before you come and have a meal.
Well, take a walk around town. Actually, you know what? Challenge yourself.
Yeah.
My wife and I did this recently after a Marble City Opera thing. We parked down at St. John's and walked all the way to the other end of town, had dinner, and walked all the way back because you can just get the steps in too while you're at it.
Absolutely, get your steps in and come. It's a beautiful space. It's the old ice factory.
I didn't know that.
I've
seen 2 or 3 shows there, but I didn't know.
Yeah, it's the old ice factory, and what I love about it is that because of the way it's configured and because it's a found space, it was not originally built as a theater. It's a found space. The moment you walk in the space, it really is an immersive experience. The designers always take it and include the entire space when you walk, as part of the set design.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's one of my favorite places to go see shows here in town for that very reason, because you walk in and you're just immediately immersed in the world of the play, which I love.
And don't spam text the actors. We're not going to pick up. You know who you are. It happens to me every performance. You know who you are.
Yeah, Dad.
It's never him. And you do it to her too. You know who you are.
Okay, this is getting funny.
You know who you are.
Well, on that note, let's wrap it up and send you on your way so you can go study and do all you got to practice for Beauty and the Beast, and you got to practice for Fun Home, and you got to practice for school. You go do all those things. You did a wonderful job, and you're a fun person, and you're a great actress. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Lillian and LB, of course.
Thank you so much.
You're always welcome back anytime. And tell Dad that he's invited to be on the PBS show next time we have tapings, okay?
Sounds great.
He's got to be in the country, though.
Exactly.
He can't be in Tokyo. He's got to be.
Good luck.
He's got to be here. riverandrailtheater.com, and the show is Fun Home, June 2nd through the 18th. This is the Frank and Friends Show. My name is Frank Murphy.
Lillian Crawford.
Laura Beth Wells.
And we'll talk to you again next time. Thanks for watching.